I'm doing well. Hate to hear all that news.
Yeah, it affected us a little bit up here in Morgantown from a preparation standpoint, but nothing compared to the way it's affecting a lot of people. Not only in southern and eastern West Virginia, but we got a lot of guys that a lot of our players are from the Baltimore, D.C. area and up into Jersey, and you gotta feel for what's going on. From not only our players' standpoint, but all the families and everybody that's being affected.
Yeah. When you had your press conference on Tuesday, you would hope that day to go outside, spend some time inside, but do some stuff outside. How did it all eventually play out this week?
Yeah, we were inside 100% of the time. We couldn't get out there. There's snow all over the field, and it was finally clear today. But it was still rain and mist, and Thursday's a light day for us, so we spend half our day inside anyway. So we split the schedule. We can only have the whole team on the indoor on that field for about 30 minutes. So we split it to where offense would meet first, and then defense would practice, and then we'd convene, and both offense, defense, and the special teams would be out there. So the whole team was there for about 30 minutes, and then defense would go inside and meet while offense was out there practicing. So it was a huge inconvenience, but we had a good week of work from a mental preparation more than anything. Last week during the bye week, we got a lot of physical football in. We played a lot of, we got after them. For 3 days we got after them. A lot of young guys played, but even the starters went against each other and got a lot of good physical popping in, which allowed us to kind of back off of it from that end. This week and just really prepare for the mental aspect of the game.
Right. You said that you have given a full evaluation during this off period of what was going well, what was not going well, and you basically say, all right, we're not doing this, let's not try to do it. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I've stood my ground on this for a long time here, but the schemes that we put in place are the schemes that we want to run. It's the schemes that we want to run defensively. It's the schemes that we want to run offensively. Just for instance, it's the same scheme that scored 73 times in the last 8 games or whatever it is. We didn't come up with new plays, so and defensively it's the same stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that we're coaching things as well as we need to be, but from a schematic standpoint, all that stuff's fine, and we got it. We eased our players' mind. Did we change some things and focus on some things that we needed to get better at? Obviously, we did, but from a scheme standpoint, it's the same stuff. It's what we want to do, and it's special teams is the same way. I mean, just because our punt team has had a couple of poor punts, it doesn't mean that the schemes are bad. It's the same schemes that we've been running around here for a long time. So for all 3 sides of the ball, what we're doing is what we're going to do.
Yeah, and that wasn't to suggest as far as an actual scheme change, but just various plays that, hey, when we run this, we're not getting the efficiency out of it that we'd like, so let's not do it. Fair statement there?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's more about a mentality than it is anything. And the mentality offensively is different than what it needs to be defensively, which is different than what it needs to be from the special team standpoint. And offensively, we had a couple of bad days. We got to get their mentality back. I mean, that's the biggest thing right now. It's not about we didn't forget how to coach. We didn't forget how to run fast. We didn't forget how to block. We didn't forget how to sit in the pocket and throw accurate balls to the open people. I mean, all that. So we just got to get their mentality back, their confidence back, and I think we've really reached them here in the last couple of weeks. So. Offensively, I think we're fine. Defensively, we just kept pounding home the importance of making sure that we line up right. I mentioned this to you 2 or 3 weeks ago. You got to line up right, and you got to communicate. And if you don't do that, then you're really basically playing defense with 9 or 10 guys. So if you have 1 or 2 guys that aren't in the right spot, so they're misaligned, or if they're not communicating with the other guys and they're not on the same page with the other guys, then we have a problem because you're only playing with 9 or 10 guys. So we just kept getting better at what we're asking them to do, and then trying to fix their mentality as far as just not hesitating,
right? Just
trigger. I mean, when the ball's snapped, there can be no thinking whatsoever, and there's probably a little bit too much thinking going on. It happens with a lot of young kids. we have to coach them out of that. And we coached hard over the last couple of weeks of coaching them out of that.
So it's fair to say that when you watch the tape of both Texas Tech and of Kansas State, there were times when it was time to snap the ball and you're on defense and your guys are just literally out of alignment, and you can tell before the ball snapped there's a problem.
Yeah. Well, again, it goes back if a guy is not aligned correctly, or if a guy is not communicating properly, there's a whole bunch of things that go into it. But then you're only playing with 9 or 10. It's a hard game to play with 11.
Yeah.
Let alone 9 or 10. So and that's coaching. That's our job as coaches, is to get people lined up and have their mentality where it needs to be. And if we accomplish that as a coach, now you can put it on your players as far as, now, look, guys, you got to play. You got to play hard. You got to play with effort. You got to be physical. You can't hesitate. You see ball, you attack ball. You see the guy with the ball, you go attack the guy. So hopefully we got better in that. I'm looking forward to seeing us line up and looking forward to seeing us trigger.
Not to make any excuses, but at the same time, the reality of the situation is it's a new defense for everyone involved. So there's even learning going on for the guys that have played a lot of snaps here. That's number one. Mm-hmm. And number two, there's a ton of learning going on for the freshmen. And so with that being said, how invaluable then was this break for those guys?
I think it was good. I think it was good. We coached them hard, and we coached them hard from alignment, from a technique to communicating, to getting confidence back on offense, to getting timing back on offense. When we coached them hard, as you know, we went out recruiting last weekend, so the players got away from it for a while. I think it's incredibly important for 18 to 23-year-old kids to, when they have an opportunity to get away from football, they need to get away from football. If you just sit there and focus on football and that's the only thing that's on your mind, then you're grinding too hard and you might be trying too hard. So had an opportunity to get away from it, and they came back pretty energized and really like how they focused and what their mentality has been this week.
Offensively, then, you say you guys need to get back the mindset, so I'm assuming offensive line, get back being physical and punishing. When it comes to skill guys, get back to being a playmaker and having a certain swagger about you to go out there and make plays.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to look at the quarterback and say he's the guy that's responsible for the offense doing well. And obviously Gino's a big part of that, but the O-line is where it really starts. And we've got so many starts under our belt on the offensive line. We have to use that to our advantage. Those guys, there's nothing that those guys are going to see, or there's nothing they've blocked people that are playing in the NFL right now. So we got to lean on Joey and Josh and Jeff Braun and Quentin Spain's getting better. He's getting more snaps under his belt. So we got to lean on those guys to dominate the line of scrimmage, and that hasn't happened the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge on their end to get back to playing and dominating like they did early in the season.
Absolutely.
Which gives Gino more time to be able to throw to the open guys, and then the timing is going to be better, and the receivers got to run better routes. I mean, where's Stedman Bailey been for the last couple of weeks? Where's J.D. Woods been for the last couple of weeks? These guys those are the guys that stepped up and made a whole bunch of plays earlier in the season.
And it was a heck of a lot easier for Gino to throw the ball when he could literally stand in the pocket for 5, 6, 7 seconds on the balls of his feet, just kind of saying, I think I'm going to throw it here and fire, rather than being flushed out of the pocket and throwing on the move and having to make plays.
Yeah, and Sean's slowly getting better. Don't know what kind of production he's going to have. Don't know if he's going to dress. I mean, it's always a game time decision, but he's getting closer. Andrew Bowie probably had his best week of practice. Was excited about how he was doing out there. So we got to be successful in the run game. TCU is hard to run the ball against. Always have been. They've always been a top 5 rushing defense for the last 15 years. So it's going to be a challenge, whether they're missing some bodies or whether not. Their schemes are good and their physical outfit. But we got to establish the run, and then we got to block hard and throw to the open guys.